Hello students, so this is my first video in which I am going to start with a new chapter on principle of inheritance and variation. Okay, so the unit of genetics, first chapter, principle of inheritance and variation. Okay, so let's not waste time and let's directly start with the topic. And I expect all of you to sit with pen and copy so that you can note down, okay, on your own after the understanding that whatever I'm going to discuss in this video. Okay, so principle of inheritance, the inheritance term. What is the meaning of inheritance? Inheritance means it is the transfer of genetic characteristics from one generation to next generation. Okay, it is the meaning of inheritance. So any genetical characteristics that transfer from one generation to next generation to next generation, this pattern of inheritance, a pattern of transfer of characteristics is known as inheritance of characteristics. Okay. Variation, we have idea about it. Variation means changes that takes place in generations. Even after a lot of similarities, we see changes, variations that takes place in generation. Okay. Now, there were many scientists who attempted to understand that how characteristics transfer from one generation to another generation, to the next generation. But it was Gregor Johann Mendel who first successfully conducted experiments to understand the pattern of inheritance of characteristics. That is why Gregor Johann Mendel, he is known as the father of genetics. Okay. Now, he conducted his experiments almost, you can say, 7 to 9 years, and then he came up with the laws of inheritance. For the first time, someone gave us laws on inheritance. Okay. Now, Mendel experimented, he conducted his experiment on a plant specific plant, that is the garden pea plant. Okay. Garden pea plant he selected for his experiment to be conducted. It is the Pisum sativum. The scientific name is Pisum sativum. Okay. Now, this experiment has been done and he observed the results for many generations. Okay. And then he successfully came out with some understanding of the pattern of inheritance of characteristics. Clear? Okay. Mendel conducted artificial pollination, you can say, or cross pollination. Okay, that means what kind of experiments he did with these plants. You can say artificial pollination or cross pollination. All of us about idea what is artificial pollination. Okay, and definitely the cross pollination took place here. He conducted cross pollination. Okay, and then he came up with Mendel conducted this cross pollination or artificial pollination in the green in these garden peas, which are actually, you can say that, true breeding pure lines of plants. Okay, so within this kind of plants of garden peas, okay, he conducted the artificial pollination through breeding pure line. The plants were true breeding pure line, so you have to understand what is the meaning of this true breeding pure line. The meaning of this terminology is, in simple language, if I say, the plant have undergone continuous self pollination. The plants have undergone continuous self pollination for generation after generation. Means for many generations the plants have undergone continuous self pollination, and ultimately it came up with some stable traits inherited. Some stable traits. Okay, so as a result of continuous self pollination, we can understand that obviously some traits will be stable, will be continued for generations. There will be no changes, no disturbances will be there, because there is no cross pollination is taking place. There is self pollination for many generations. It is going on. So ultimately it came up with some stable traits. So it would be easier, for Mendel to observe the result. That is why he chose this kind of pure lines. Fine. Now my next point is that Mendel chosen 14 different pea plants. 14 different pea plants he has chosen, and he made 7 pairs. Out of 14 different pea plants, he made 7 pairs. 7 pairs with all similarities. The pairs were made, all the 7 pairs were made with all similarities except for one character with 2 contrasting traits. Okay, what I said? The 7 pairs, each pair were made with all, the plants were with all similarities except for one character with 2 contrasting traits. For example, 2 plants were chosen. Okay, 2 pea plants were chosen. This plant A and plant B have all the similarities except one dissimilarity. What is that? Except one dissimilarity in one character, that is with the height. If you look at the height, okay, one is tall, one is short. So these are 2 contrasting traits here in one character. So apart from this exception, or rest all the features, characteristics of these 2 plants were similar. This is how he made 7 pairs with 14 plants. Okay, I hope you understood. Like in your NCERT, some examples given. As I said, the stem height, as this is one example. Another is, for example, he took he made 2 plants pair, okay, with all similarities except one dissimilarity in the color of flower, for example. So suppose this is with a blue flower, okay, and another is for like red flower, okay. So only one exception, dissimilarities. So rest all characteristics are same in between these 2 plants. So this is how 7 different pairs were made by 14 different plants. Okay. Now, before we start with that what Mendel did in his experiment, we will be observing 2 experiments, monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross. But before that, we have to understand few things. A question directly comes that why Mendel have chosen pea plant, garden pea? Why not other plants? What are the advantages that are with the pea plant? Let me discuss that first. First of all, pea plants were annual plants. This is a great advantage for Mendel. Why? Annual plants means the plants starting from its seed, growing into a plant, flower, fruits. Okay, all these steps, all these phases of life will be completed in 1 year. So entire life cycle of a plant completes in 1 year. So next year, next generation come. So because of this advantage, okay, Mendel in a short period of time could study many generations, because there are plants like biennial plants, perennial plants, which took 2 years to complete a life cycle, even more than that in perennial plant cases. So in those cases, observing generations is a matter of huge time. So choosing a annual plant is an advantage, okay, or you can say was an advantage in case of Mendel, that in a short period of time, okay, it can be, many generations can be studied in 1 year, one cycle complete. So in a few years we can understand many generations, we can observe many generations. So this is the first advantage. Second advantage is what? Easily identifiable contrasting traits. Okay, easily identifiable contrasting traits in the garden pea plant. So this is one more advantage, because there are many contrasting characters in different plants that we don't actually easily identify. But in these pea plant cases, this is easily identifiable. So this is one more advantage. Number 3, the pea plants are, as we know, that self-pollinating for many generations, which ultimately came up with what? Pure line, directly referred to pure lines. Okay, with stable traits, because of self-pollination for many generations. So this is one advantage with the pea plant. Number 4 advantage of pea plant, we can say, like let me just check once. Okay, large number of seeds are produced in one generation. So large number of seeds are produced in one generation. So that makes the experiment much more easier to observe the result. If you have more the number of result in front of you, so it will be easier for you to observe the expression. Okay, so these are the few advantages with the garden pea plant. That is why Mendel chose this garden. So this is a very important point for your exam. Now, one more topic we have to go through before we getting into the experiments. We have to discuss some of the important terminologies. Okay. Otherwise, to understand the experiments will be a little difficult, because some specific biological terminologies are used here. First of all, alleles. I think it's a new word for you, or maybe in case of some of you it is not a new word. Alleles means what? Alleles means alternative forms of gene. Alternative forms of gene means one gene have two different alternative forms. I hope this sentence is clear. Okay, like for example, these are the two alleles of one gene. So one gene have two alternate forms. Okay, now let me explain it a little more. The meaning, the literal meaning, if I say some chromosomes, okay, these alternative forms which are known as alleles, these alternative forms which are known as alleles, these alleles are found in a you can say homologous pair of chromosomes. Okay, in a chromosome, suppose I am drawing, okay, it's not better, technically it's not homologous chromosome, better we say that in one chromosome, what we see here, two chromatids are here. Okay, chromatids are, alternatively the chromatid is also termed as chromosome. Okay, so in these two chromatids, what we see here, we see the presence of DNA. You know that chromosome contains DNA, right? So this is the DNA present in each chromatids. That is in one chromosome. Now this DNA sequence, now within the we can say that parts of the DNA sequence are the genes, right? So the sequence of the DNA, it consists of what? Genes. We can say the sequences. Okay. Now, but remember, the entire DNA strand does not contain genes entirely. There are sequences in the DNA which do not, which are not called genes. Those are the non-genetic parts. Okay. So let's assume this is the location of one DNA in this chromosome. Okay. And this part at this location, if we observe the molecular structure in the DNA, okay, it seems similar as it is molecular structure found in the another chromosome also, another DNA also. Okay, same molecular structure is observed in same locations of two different DNA. I am repeating it. Okay, same molecular structure in the same location of two different DNA. See here. At this part of the DNA, whatever the molecular structure you observe, as it is same molecular structure is found in this part of the DNA also. Locations are also same. It is not like that the molecular structure. Suppose how to understand molecular structure. This, I will be discussing details of molecular structure in the this next chapter, second chapter, DNA molecular basis. But just to get a little more idea about this, suppose A binds with T and G binds with C. This is kind of, you can say, base pairing. This kind of base pairings, you know, one after another, they form sequence. Okay, so and like for example this one, this 3 is one sequence. This sequence is found in this part. As it is at this part also, we see the same sequence. Same sequence is found here. So same sequence ATGCTA, ATGCTA, ATGCTA. So same sequence we see. Okay, in this case, in this kind of situation where we see the similar molecular structure, similar sequencing, okay, in a same location of two different DNA, these two locations, okay, are known as alleles. So this is one allele, this is another allele, and these two alleles, they form one gene. Okay, now remember, as they have the similar sequencing, they also they express the same character, right? I hope you understand this. If the locations, okay, in the DNA have the same sequencing, same configuration, same structure, then obviously, and if these are alleles, means this is a gene, okay, and these parts, okay, because of the similar molecular structure, they also express similar functions, similar characteristics, because genes carry characteristics, information for characteristics, right? So because of the similar molecular structures, these two alleles, they express same character. It is obvious, right? So suppose both of these alleles, they are responsible for the character height. Understood? Now let's see. Suppose I am giving the name of this allele is capital A given here. This is also capital A given here. So this is one gene. I said one gene. Two alleles form one gene then. Altogether these two alleles known as one gene. It means one gene consists of two alleles. So how do I write the name of this allele now? This is a gene. This is the gene which consists of two alleles AA. Understood? Now, if you understand this, let's move to the next step of this. It may happen that the alleles expresses same character but two different traits. Okay, it is also possible. The alleles may be little different from each other, little dissimilarities in the sequence. You can say most of the part of sequencing having the similarities, but it is little difference that brings some change. It may happen that because of this little change, we can say that one allele name is this, another allele may be small a, I can write also. This is also a gene having two alleles, means two letters indicates two alleles. Okay, that you have to understand. Two letter means two alleles. Okay. Now it may be two capital letter alleles, one capital, one small letter. It may be both are small letter. These three kinds of combination is possible in the alleles. Both are capitals, both are small, one capital, one small. This one is known as homozygous allele combination. Homozygous means similar. So homozygous allele combination, both are capital A. So both alleles are 100% similar. In this case, this is also homozygous allele combination because both are small. But okay, one more thing. This one is heterozygous allele combination because here two different types of alleles are there, one capital, one small. Okay. Now one more thing related to these terms, remember, when I am writing an allele with in a capital letter, block letter, that indicates that it is dominant. It is of dominant character, dominant trait. And small letter means this is recessive, means weak. Okay. So if I add in capital, it indicates dominance. It dominant. It is dominant allele. And small means it is recessive allele. Recessive means weak. Okay, weak allele. And obviously the dominant allele will dominate the weak allele. Okay, it will prevent the expression of the weak allele, right? Okay. Now two very important terms that I have been using. Let me clarify those terms. One is character, another is trait. If I say what is the height of the plants? Height is the character. Now the height may be tall or the height may be dwarf or short. These are the traits. If I say what is the color of the flower? What is the color of the flower? This is a character. Now the color may be red flower, may be white flower, or maybe other colors. These are the traits. These are the traits. I hope from this example the meaning of the difference between character and traits are clear. Okay. So now recap. What I said is that the alleles, they may control the same character but maybe two contrasting traits or maybe similar traits. Let's look at this one, homozygous dominant alleles. Both are caps, so dominant. Homozygous means similar. So homozygous dominant alleles. So in this case, both are controlling over the same character, same trait. Look at this one, homozygous recessive allele combination. This is small letter means recessive. So homozygous means similar alleles. Homozygous recessive allele combinations. Okay, so they are what? They are also controlling over the same character, same trait. Now look at this one, heterozygous allele combination. One capital, one small. It means one dominating allele, one recessive allele. So in this case, what will happen? That they are controlling over same character, but two different traits. Like this. Suppose this gene is responsible for the character height. So both the alleles are expressing character height, but one is expressing tall height, one is expressing dwarf height, but both are heights. So in this case, both are controlling over the same character, but maybe two different traits. One is controlling, one can express the tall height, one can be responsible for the short or dwarf height. So two traits, it is possible. Okay, so that is called heterozygous allele combination. Clear? So if I take this example, if I apply this example into these two also, same thing will come. In this case, both the alleles responsible for tall height. Okay, because tall, suppose I am writing a tall is dominating, for example here, and dwarf is recessive. So both, I'm sorry, let me write it here A, as I have used A here, so let me write it here A. So now look at here, capital A is for tall, small a for dwarf. Now both capital A, so it is going to be tall plant. Both are responsible for tall trait, character same, trait same. In this case, both are responsible for short height, dwarf height, right? So same character, same trait. But in this case, what we see, same character but two different traits. One is responsible for tall height, one is responsible for the short height. So this is called heterozygous allele combination. Okay, so see a few terms we have discussed here. Character traits we have discussed. Homozygous allele, heterozygous allele we have discussed. What is dominant, what is recessive also we have discussed. And in the beginning we have discussed alleles. Two alleles, one gene. So one gene is equal to two alleles. Okay. Now two more terms. Phenotype and genotype. Phenotype and genotype. Okay. What is the meaning of it? Phenotype means the characteristics or the character or the trait, whatever you say, which is observed, which can be observed, which is expressed. Like my hair color is black, so you can see my hair color is black, which is observed, which can be seen. This character is expressed, color, so I can see this from outside, right? So I have 5 fingers, all of us have 5 fingers in one hand, so I can see the expression of the gene. 5 fingers, I can see this. Okay, so this is the phenotype, phenotypic character, which is expressed, the character which is expressed, which can be observed. Now what is genotype? Suppose phenotype, I can see that the person is tall height. I can see this, so this is a character. Okay, this is phenotype. Now what is genotype? Genotype is, see, if I break this term, genotype, gene type means, genotype means the type of gene which is responsible for this phenotypic character. The type of gene which is responsible for the phenotypic expression. For example, for this trait tall height, if I take this example, I can take this one. This gene is responsible for the tall height. So genotype means I have to write the name of the gene, the type of the gene I have to write. Understood? Now see, I can write this one also. Why? See, capital A, capital A means tall, small a means dwarf. Now one capital, one small is there. So capital means dominating. This one is recessive means weak. So obviously this allele is going to dominate over this allele, weak allele. So which character is going to express? Tall. So the gene may be this or the gene may be this. Both the gene expresses tall height. So this is the type of gene. This is called genotype. Okay. So genotype, when it will be asked to you the what is a genotype, write genotype, you have to write the type of the gene, the name of the gene you have to write. Okay. Type of gene means what type of allele combinations are there in the gene, like I have written here. And phenotype means you have to write what is the expression of the gene. This one. Clear? So this is the phenotype and genotype. So these are some of the basic informations, okay, basic terminologies that we must have understanding before we get into the cross, monohybrid and dihybrid cross. Okay. Well, so I think this video, let us finish here, because we have discussed some basic information, some basic understanding, okay, about inheritance, about Mendel's experiment. Okay, in my next video I am going to discuss the experiments what Mendel did, monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross we will be discussing. Okay, these informations, all these terminologies is very important to understand. So I am not covering the experiments in this video. Okay, please go through this video again and again, note down the meaning of the terminologies, understand what I am trying to say. Okay, if you don't understand, ask me. Okay, I will definitely answer. Okay, if you have my phone number, you can ask directly, or you can also write the questions in the comment box, in my comment box. Okay, so this basic understanding has to be there in your mind. Then only you will understand the experiments that Mendel did. Okay, so for this video, this much only. So make your note, understand whatever we have discussed today. And my next video, we will be discussing the experiments, monohybrid, dihybrid cross, and the further topics. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video.